Good morning, students. In the last class, we have seen the ratio between specific heat capacities, molar specific heat capacities, and also we saw some relations between the thermodynamic coordinates, pressure, volume, and temperature. Today, we will use the idea of gamma, that is the ratio of specific heat capacities, and also prove or derive some relationship between these thermodynamic coordinates, pressure, volume, and temperature, especially for adiabatic changes or adiabatic processes. So we are going to derive or prove three different relations. So the first one which we will be deriving today is PV raised to gamma is a constant. Okay. Where P is the pressure, V is the volume, and gamma is Cp by Cv, the ratio of specific heat capacities, molar specific heat capacities. Then we will use this equation to derive another equation, which is PV raised to gamma minus 1 is a constant. Then again we will use the first equation and we are going to prove or derive P raised to 1 minus gamma by gamma is a constant. So these three relations, you have to note there are few conditions under which these three relations will be valid. And the condition is that it should be an adiabatic change and it should be about ideal gases. So these three equations are valid only for ideal gases during adiabatic change. So let us take one by one and prove them. So first, let us consider this equation. PV raised to gamma is a constant. So we are first going to prove that PV raised to gamma is a constant for an adiabatic change. So let us start with the first law of thermodynamics. You know that for the first law of thermodynamics, dq is equal to du plus dw, where dq is the amount of heat given to the system and du is the change in internal energy of the system and dw is the work done by the system. And for an adiabatic change, you know that for adiabatic change, dq is equal to 0, which means there is no exchange of heat between the system and the surrounding. No heat is given to the system. So dq is equal to 0. The amount of heat given to the system will be equal to 0. Now, we have learned in the last class, du is equal to Cv dt, where Cv is the molar specific heat at constant volume and dt is the change in temperature. When we discussed this yesterday, I told that this relation is valid irrespective of the type of change. So this is valid for isothermal, adiabatic, isobaric, isochoric, all the processes. So the change in internal energy is directly proportional to the change in absolute temperature, and the proportionality constant is the molar specific heat capacity at constant volume. So we got an expression for dq, which is 0, du, we got an expression, and what is dw? dw, the work done, is pdv. This again we have derived in the first class. So we are going to substitute all the values here. So you will get it as 0 is equal to this plus this. So I'm going to write it as Cv dt plus Pdv is equal to 0. So this first equation, first law of thermodynamics, is in this form now. Now, I'm planning to derive this equation, right? So I have pressure and volume here. I don't want temperature, so I don't want this dt here. So I want to somehow eliminate this dt. So for that, I'm going to consider the ideal gas equation for 1 mole of gas. So what is the ideal gas equation? Ideal gas equation is PV is equal to nRT. Now, ideal gas equation for 1 mole of gas. For 1 mole of gas, N is equal to 1. So, the equation will become PV is equal to RT. Now, what I want to substitute here is not T. I want dt, right? Change in temperature. So, in order to make it dt, what I am going to do is I will be taking the derivative of this equation with respect to temperature, d by dt. So, I am going to do d by dt on both sides. So, here it will become d by dt of PV is equal to d by dt of RT. Okay. Now here we cannot take pressure or volume outside because in an adiabatic change, pressure, volume, temperature, all three of them can change. So how do you represent d by dt of UV? How will you write it? When you are differentiating the product of two factors or product of two quantities, how will you do that? If U, V both are related to T, how will you do? You can put it as U into dV by dt plus V into du by dt, right? So this is how you differentiate two quantities, both which are related to the quantity with which we are differentiating, with respect to which we are differentiating. So I'm going to use this idea here because pressure, volume, both will change and both will depend upon temperature for an adiabatic change. So let me write this d by dt of P into dV by dt plus V into dP by dt. And that's equal to R is a constant. So I can take it out of the derivative. And what is d by dt? dt by dt. If R is taken out, it will be dt by dt. What is dt by dt?
1.
1. So I can put it as equal to R. R into dt by dt, which is 1. So it becomes just R. So I have got it here. Now, not small t, I'm sorry, it should be capital T. Now, both terms have dt. So we want to get an expression for dt as well. So I'm going to take dt to the other side. dt is commonly there for both. So I'm going to take dt to the other side. So this will become PdV plus VdP is equal to R dt. R dt is equal to PdV plus VdP divided by R. And I'm going to substitute this value of dt in equation 2. So I'm substituting dt in equation 2. So substituting dt in equation 2. So when I put that in equation 2, this will become Cv times PdV plus VdP divided by R plus PdV is equal to 0. So here I have R here. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking Cv into this. I'm going to take Cv into the bracket and also I'm going to multiply throughout the expression with R. So I'm going two things at the same time. One is I'm going to take Cv inside this expression and also I'm going to multiply with R throughout. So in this term, R will get cancelled because R is in the denominator. Here, when R gets just multiplied. Is that clear? Okay, if there is any doubt, stop me in between. So I'm going to do two things at the same time. So here taking CV inside this will be CV PDV plus CV VDP plus R PDV is equal to 0. Is this fine? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't want R here because my intention is to get PV raised to gamma. We know that gamma is Cp by Cv. So let the Cv be there, but I don't want R. How can we replace R in terms of Cp and Cv? What is the relation between Cp, Cv and R? We learned it yesterday, an expression. What is that?
Cp is equal to Cv plus R.
Yes, or R is equal to Cp minus Cv. Same, right? See, you told Cp is equal to Cv plus R, which is same as R is equal to Cp minus Cv. So I'm going to use this expression for R here. So let's see what happens. So Cv PdV plus Cv VdP plus, instead of R, I'm going to use Cp minus Cv, right? So Cp minus Cv times PdV equal to 0. Now I'm just going to expand this, means multiplying Cp and Cv with PdV, taking this into the brackets. So it will become Cv PdV, okay, plus Cv VdP plus Cp PdV minus Cv PdV equal to 0. Now here, look, Cv PdV minus Cv PdV. So I can cancel them. This is plus and minus of the same quantity. So I can cancel them. So what we end up with is Cv VdP plus Cp PdV is equal to 0. But what I want here is PV raised to gamma, right? So to get gamma, I'm going to divide this expression now with Cp, because gamma is equal to, what is gamma? Gamma is equal to Cp by Cv, right? So to get Cp by Cv, I'm going to divide throughout by Cv so that I have in the denominator Cv. So I'm dividing this with Cv. So Cv by Cv VdP plus Cp by Cv PdV is equal to 0. So Cv by Cv is 1. So I have VdP plus Cp by Cv is gamma. PdV is equal to 0. Is this clear to you? If you have, do you have any doubt till this point?
No.
No, teacher.
No. Now here, whenever there is a change like dp, dv, differentiation, how to avoid that? Because in the final expression, I don't have dp or dv. What I have is just p and v, right? So I want to avoid this dp, dv, instead get it as pv. So to avoid that differentiation type or the change type, what we usually do is we integrate throughout the expression. So I want to integrate throughout the expression. Now when I integrate here, this is v with dp. It's v with dp. And v is dependent on p. I cannot take it out of the integral as well because it's not a constant with respect to pressure. So to make this term exclusively with p and to make this term exclusively with v, I'm using a technique. I'm going to divide this expression with PV. So what I'm going to do is Let me take this as equation number, got till equation number 2, right? So I'm going to take this as equation number 3 and divide equation 3 by PV. Okay, let us see what happens when I divide this equation by PV. So this will become V dP by PV plus gamma P dV by PV is equal to 0. 0 by PV is 0 itself. So see, the volume gets cancelled. Here the pressure gets cancelled. So what I end up is dP by P plus gamma into dV by V is equal to 0. Now I can integrate because here this term is exclusively in P and this term is exclusively in V. Don't worry about gamma, it's a constant, so it will go out of the integration. So let me integrate this expression. So I'm going to integrate this. So when I integrate this expression, I can put the gamma out. Now what is 1 by x dx? Integral 1 by x dx. What is integral 1 by x dx? You must have learned this. Integral 1 by x dx is natural log of x. Right? So what is integral 1 by p dp? Log p. And what is integral 1 by v dv? Log v. So that's what I am going to do now. So here I have got integral 1 by p dp is log p plus gamma times log v is equal to 0. Now look here, always compare with the goal. When you are always comparing with the goal, you can stay on track and you will also get to know in which way to follow. So let me look at this. So our intention is to get PV raised to gamma, right? So we need V raised to gamma. Now look here, it's gamma log V. Gamma log V. What is log A raised to B? What is log of A raised to B? It's B log A, right? So log of A raised to B is B log A. So I'm going to do the reverse of this. Here gamma log V, I'm going to write as log of V raised to gamma. Okay, so I'm going to use this idea here. And I'll be writing this as log P plus log V raised to gamma is equal to 0. Okay, I got V raised to gamma. Now I want the product, not sum. It's P into V. What is log A plus log B? Log A plus log B is log of AB. So I'm going to use that idea here. I'm sorry, I did a mistake here. We are integrating without limits, right? We are integrating without limits. So I cannot just write like this. It should be plus a constant is equal to 0. Because integral of 0 will be just a constant. So I have to write it as instead of equal to 0, a constant. If you are integrating with a limit, you need not write it as a constant. You can put the upper limit and lower limit. But now you are integrating without limits. So you have to write this as equal to a constant. So this also will become equal to a constant. Now I'm going to write this as log A plus log B is equal to log A into B. So this is log of P V raised to gamma equal to a constant. Oh, log of a quantity is a constant, which means what? That quantity will be a constant. So P V raised to gamma equal to a constant. So we have derived the first expression. Is this clear to you? How we derive the first expression? Are
Yes,
all the
teacher.
steps clear? Should I just repeat fast? I'll just go for a quick recap. We are going to derive PV raised to gamma is a constant. First, what we did is we took the first law of thermodynamics, and for an adiabatic change, there is no exchange of heat energy. So the amount of heat energy given to the system is zero. And also this is a standard equation which is valid for all type of changes. du is equal to Cv dt. Then for dW also the work done is equal to PdV. Both are standard expressions. So we are putting all that together in this equation. Now we will end up with a dt. We don't want that in this expression. So in order to avoid dt, we are taking ideal gas equation for 1 mole of gas, which is PV is equal to RT. And to get dt, we are differentiating throughout by dt, and when we do though, we will end up with an expression for dt, which we substitute in this equation. Now, when we substitute and rearrange, we also substitute for r, Cp minus Cv. And when we rearrange, we will end up with Cp Vdp plus gamma Pdv by putting Cp by Cv as gamma. Now, in order to make this exclusively each term with their own quantities, we are going to divide this expression by Pdv. So at this stage, you tend to forget what will be the next step. So remember, we have to divide it with PV. So when you divide, you will get such an expression and you can integrate it. Since you are not integrating with limits, you have to add plus a constant. So plus a constant, when it goes to the other side, it will be just a constant. Whether positive or negative, it will be a constant there. So this is 1 by P dP. Integral 1 by P dP is log P, and integral 1 by V dV is log V. So when I substitute there, and I use the idea that A log B is equal to log of B raised to A. So here I have used that idea, and then log A plus log B is equal to log of A times B. So I use that idea and I got it here. If logarithm of a quantity is constant, that quantity should be a constant. So PV raised to gamma is a constant. Is this clear to you? Is this clear to you? Say yes or no.
Yeah, teacher.
Okay. So now this was a tedious task to derive this expression. But once we have this expression, we can use it and derive both of the other expressions quite easily. So let's do that. So for both of that expression, I will start with PV raised to gamma is a constant. And then I will use the ideal gas equation. That's the only thing we are going to do to derive or prove these two expressions. Let's see how it is done. So now we are going to prove that PV raised to gamma minus 1 is a constant. Okay, so we are going to prove this. And what we have in hand, what we have already proved is that PV raised to gamma is a constant. My aim is to reach here. For that, I don't want pressure in my expression. What I want is temperature. So in order to express pressure in terms of temperature, I'm going to use the ideal gas equation. So let me take the ideal gas equation. Again, for 1 mole of gas, it will be in the form PV is equal to nRT, N is 1. So PV is equal to RT. Or I can write P is equal to RT by V. So I'm going to substitute this P is equal to RT by V in this equation. So this is equation 1. So substituting for P in equation 1, I will get it as RT by V. V raised to gamma is a constant. Right? Now what is V raised to gamma by V? V raised to gamma by V. What is that? RT, you have V raised to gamma divided by V. 1 by V means V raised to minus 1, right? So this is V raised to gamma times V raised to minus 1. So this is equal to V raised to gamma minus 1. So I can write V raised to gamma by V raised to gamma by V as equal to a constant. And instead of V raised to gamma by V, I am going to write V raised to gamma minus V. So R T V raised to gamma minus 1 equal to a constant. You know that R is a universal gas constant having a value 8.31, right? So when I take R to this side, a constant divided by another constant will be a constant. So I can write it as T V raised to gamma minus 1 is a constant, because a constant divided by R again will be a constant. So is this clear to you how we have derived T V raised to gamma minus 1 is a constant, just starting with this one. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah,
teacher.
teacher.
Okay. So just as we did this, we will quickly derive this expression. The procedure will be same. So now we are going to derive the expression that P raised to 1 minus gamma by gamma is equal to a constant. So here we are going to prove P raised to 1 minus gamma by gamma equal to a constant. So again we start with the first one, that PV raised to gamma equal to a constant. And here in this expression, I don't want volume. I want temperature. So we will again use the ideal gas equation for 1 mole of gas and substitute instead of volume expression in terms of temperature. So let us take the ideal gas equation. Ideal gas equation for 1 mole of gas. So when I take ideal gas equation, it is PV is equal to nRT, N is 1. So PV is equal to RT. And I don't want here volume, right? So I'll take volume here and put it as RT divided by P and substitute for this in this equation 1. So substituting V in equation 1, it will become P, instead of V, I am going to write RT by P whole raised to gamma equal to a constant. Okay. So RT by P whole raised to gamma. So I can give this gamma power to each of these quantities. So it will become, P is already there, R raised to gamma, T raised to gamma divided by P raised to gamma. Right? So what is P raised, 1 by P raised to gamma is equal to P raised to minus gamma, right? So I'm going to write 1 by P raised to gamma as P raised to minus gamma. By the way, this is equal to a constant. So I'm putting like this. So this will become P. Just P means P raised to 1, R raised to gamma, T raised to gamma, P raised to minus gamma equal to a constant, which gives T raised to gamma. I'm going to take R raised to gamma to the other side, divided a constant divided by R raised to gamma. R is a constant, gamma is a constant, so R raised to gamma definitely will be a constant value. So a constant divided by another constant r raised to gamma will be a constant. So I can take r raised to gamma to the other side and just write what's there as a constant. So p raised to gamma. Now what is p raised to 1 and minus gamma? P raised to 1 minus gamma. So I can write this as equal to p raised to 1 is here, minus gamma is here. So p raised to 1 minus gamma. Remember, a raised to n, b raised to n is equal to, sorry, a raised to n, a raised to m is equal to a raised to n plus n, right? You can just add that and the power. So what I have done is I have just added 1 and minus gamma. So it became 1 minus gamma. This is the idea which I have used here. Equal to a constant, because even if r raised to gamma go to the other side in the denominator, it being a constant, the whole quantity here on this side will remain a constant. So here, now I want you to have a look at this expression as well, because in your board exams for multiple choice questions, they will give a number of equations which are valid for a adiabatic change. You must have memorized this expression. P raised to 1 minus gamma by gamma equal to a constant. That's true. Maybe this they will give, and sometimes to confuse you, they will give this as well. So if you have learned only this one, what happens? You tend to think that this is wrong, but this is right. Okay, this also is correct. So this is there. Now let us do one more step to go to this part. So I have a quantity like root of a. How can I express that as a power? Square root of a. Square root of a can be expressed as a raised to half. Right? Square root of a can be expressed as a raised to half. Cube root of a can be expressed as a raised to 1 by 3. Right? So the gamma root of a can be expressed as a raised to 1 by gamma. Is this idea clear to you? Here I have p raised to gamma, p raised to 1 minus gamma. I don't want t raised to gamma because my expression should look like p raised to 1 minus gamma by gamma. So I want only t. So I'm going to take throughout this expression the gamma root. So gamma root of the whole expression. Don't worry about the constant. Even the gamma root of a constant will be a constant. So I'm going to do here the gamma root. So I'm going to do gamma root. So this will become t raised to gamma. Its gamma root will be divided by gamma. And p raised to 1 minus gamma, its gamma root will be divided by gamma, equal to a constant. A constant's gamma root will be definitely a constant. So here t raised to gamma by gamma is 1, right? So I can write it as yes. Okay, please mute yourself. P raised to 1 minus gamma divided by gamma equal to a constant. Is this clear to you? Is this derivation clear to you?
Yeah, teacher.
We use the same procedure, but one new idea which came up is we are taking at this point the gamma root. So gamma root, you can write it as that quantity raised to 1 by gamma. That's all the new idea which we have taken here. The rest of the procedure is same as what we did for the second one. So we have derived these three expressions. The first derivation was a little bit tedious, but once we get that expression, we will use that not only in the derivation of these two, in which is coming up also, we can use that. So this being discussed, I want to find an expression for the work done by an adiabatic gas, but I think there won't be enough time to do that in this class, so we will do that tomorrow. Tomorrow we will derive an expression for the work done by an adiabatic gas, and also we will see why the curve for adiabatic changes are steeper than for isothermal changes. And then we will go to the second law of thermodynamics. So let me conclude that here.